Listen, life don't wait for anyone. Every decision you make, every person you let close to your energy, shapes the trajectory of your grind, your vision, and your future. You can't afford to be blind to the signals, the words, and the energy people bring into your world. There are moments in life when someone speaks the truth about themselves before you even have to question it, and those moments are gifts, rare, honest, and crystal clear. But most people, they ignore it. They hear the words, but they choose to convince themselves otherwise. They think love, attraction, or hope can rewrite someone's intentions, but that's a lie. Energy doesn't lie. Words don't lie. Actions don't lie. And when someone openly tells you what they are, who they are, and where they stand, that's your cue. That's the moment you either protect your peace or let chaos creep into your life. Today, I'm going to break it down. The 6 things a woman might tell you clear as day that should make you walk away immediately, because your energy, your vision, and your future are worth more than temporary attachment, false hope, or someone else's misalignment. Listen close, because clarity is a rare commodity, and it's about to save you a lifetime of trouble. When a woman tells you she's not looking for commitment, it's one of those moments in life where clarity hits like a bell. Most people hear that and think maybe she'll change, or maybe I can work with this. But the truth is, you can't build anything solid on someone else's indecision. You can't construct a house without a foundation, and you certainly can't build a future with someone whose path doesn't include you. Commitment isn't just a word. It's a representation of alignment, intention, and mutual respect. When she openly tells you she's not looking for it, she's giving you the most honest glimpse of her priorities, her lifestyle, and her vision for the future. That's valuable information. It might sting because it challenges what you want, but it's better than walking blind into frustration, heartbreak, or wasted time. In life, respect comes from seeing things as they are, not how you wish they were. Accepting her words means respecting yourself enough to honor your own goals. If your vision includes growth, loyalty, stability, and partnership, staying with someone who explicitly refuses those elements is like planting seeds in barren soil. You can nurture, water, and hope, but growth won't happen where the foundation isn't there. Commitment isn't only about relationships, it's about intention and energy. When she says she's not looking for it, she's signaling where her energy goes. Energy is finite, and if it isn't directed toward the shared growth you want, it will be scattered elsewhere. Trying to force a connection where the intent isn't mutual is like pouring water into a cup with a hole in the bottom. You'll never feel fulfilled no matter how much you give. This is a lesson in understanding human behavior and the importance of clarity. Life doesn't reward confusion, compromise without alignment, or chasing illusions. Real growth requires clarity. Real love requires alignment. Real respect requires mutual intention. When someone communicates their boundaries and desires, the only smart response is acknowledgement, not negotiation. When she says she's not looking for commitment, she's defining the relationship in her terms, and it's your responsibility to decide if those terms match yours. Too many people ignore this. They tell themselves love will fix it or time will change her mind, but that's rarely the case. Time doesn't change vision, people change vision themselves, if at all. Chasing someone whose vision doesn't include you is like trying to sprint uphill with weights on your back. It drains energy and distracts you from your own path. Understanding this also speaks to self-respect. Self-respect is recognizing your own worth and refusing to settle for less than what aligns with your purpose. If you're someone who values loyalty, stability, and partnership, being with someone who explicitly refuses to provide that is a form of self-betrayal. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak or heartless. It means you are wise and strategic. It means you understand the game of life, where every decision, every relationship, and every interaction is a move toward your future. Life rewards those who play smart, not those who play desperate. And when she says she's not looking for a commitment, she's offering a gift. The chance to redirect your energy towards someone whose intentions match yours, someone whose presence supports your growth instead of stagnating it. This moment also forces introspection. It asks you to examine what you want, what you're willing to compromise, and what you cannot live without. It asks you to define your non-negotiables. Some people confuse love with patience or loyalty with endurance. They believe that persistence alone can create alignment, but that's a lie people tell themselves to justify staying in relationships that don't serve them. True alignment cannot be manufactured. It must exist naturally, mutually, and intentionally. Recognizing when it isn't there is not defeat, it is wisdom. It is the acknowledgement that your time, energy, and heart are precious resources, and wasting them on someone who cannot reciprocate is a loss you can't afford. Finally, understanding this principle is a matter of vision. Vision is not just about money, success, or status. It's about the life you want to create, the person you want to become, and the environment you surround yourself with. Relationships are part of that ecosystem. Being with someone whose intent is incompatible with yours can disrupt your focus, erode your confidence, and slow your progress. But when you recognize her words for what they are, you take control. You make a decision that aligns with your principles, preserves your energy, and protects your future. Walking away when someone tells you they're not looking for commitment isn't giving up, it's investing in yourself. It's planting seeds where they can grow and building a life that matches your ambition, vision, and values. When a woman dismisses your values, disrespects your time, or fails to honor your boundaries, it's not just a moment of irritation, it's a signal about the kind of energy she brings into your life. Every person you let close to your world either elevates you or diminishes you, and disrespect is one of the most destructive forces because it slowly erodes your self-worth without you even realizing it. Your values are the blueprint for how you live, the compass that guides your decisions, and the foundation upon which your life is built. And when someone constantly disregards those values, it creates friction that can stunt your growth, disrupt your focus, and interfere with the life you are trying to build. Time is another currency that cannot be replenished. If she doesn't respect your time, whether by being inconsiderate, unreliable, or dismissive, she's effectively telling you that what you do and what you value matters less than her whim. Accepting this is not just a compromise, it's a slow leakage of your potential, energy, and purpose. Boundaries are your self-respect manifested. There are the lines you draw to protect your mental, emotional, and physical space. When someone steps over those boundaries, they are demonstrating that your autonomy and your dignity are negotiable in their eyes. That is a dangerous environment to stay in because it trains your mind to tolerate disrespect and normalizes behavior that undermines your confidence. Relationships, like any investment, require careful attention to alignment. When she dismisses what you believe in, it's not just a matter of opinion, it's a reflection of her inability or unwillingness to meet you where you are. Life is not about molding yourself to someone else's comfort at the cost of your integrity. Growth happens when two people elevate each other, challenge each other in healthy ways, and respect each other's principles. If that mutual respect isn't present, you're in a dynamic that is transactional rather than transformative. You may think you can convince her to honor your boundaries or respect your values, but the truth is, respect cannot be forced. It must be given willingly. Trying to argue, persuade, or negotiate respect is often a trap that drains your energy, fosters resentment, and diminishes the clarity you need to see the situation for what it is. Recognizing the red flag early allows you to reclaim your energy and redirect it toward people and opportunities that genuinely match your vision. Time and respect are intimately connected. When someone consistently disrespects your time, it tells you what they value, and what they value is usually themselves above you. This is not a small matter. Time is the medium through which all results are produced. Your work, your growth, your ambitions all require time and focus. Allowing someone to repeatedly disregard that is akin to letting someone pull bricks from the foundation of a building you are constructing. It may not collapse immediately, but cracks will appear, and eventually the structure will be compromised. Your life, your future, and your mental health are too important to permit that kind of erosion. In the same way, dismissing your values is an attack on your identity. Your values define your principles, your ethics, and your vision of a meaningful life. And when someone treats them as irrelevant, they are signaling that they do not see you, truly see you, or want to engage with you as a partner in your life's journey. Staying in that environment fosters self-doubt and confusion because it pressures you to compromise parts of yourself that should never be compromised. Boundaries exist for protection, clarity, and peace. They are not arbitrary. They are the lines that allow you to operate with focus, self-respect, and purpose. When she disregards these boundaries, she is showing that her comfort and her wants come before your dignity. That's not love, not respect, and not partnership. That's self-interest at your expense. And when you accept that, you send a message to yourself and to the world that your peace, your integrity, and your priorities are negotiable. That is a dangerous message because it allows patterns of disrespect to become normalized. Healthy relationships require mutual recognition of each other's boundaries, whether that's emotional space, career focus, personal beliefs, or time commitments. Without that, every interaction becomes a negotiation, every conversation a test, and every decision a compromise of your autonomy. The lesson here is about self-awareness and the protection of your energy. Life is a grind, and every choice you make either fuels your ascent or drags you into stagnation. Allowing someone to repeatedly dismiss your values or boundaries is a form of slow sabotage. It distracts you from your purpose, undermines your confidence, and conditions you to tolerate disrespect in other areas of your life. Walking away from that is not giving up, it's strategic. It is an acknowledgement that your energy, your time, and your principles are not negotiable commodities. Protecting them ensures that the people who do enter your life do so as partners, contributors, and allies in your growth. Leaving doesn't close doors, it opens new ones to relationships and opportunities that honor your values, respect your time, and recognize your boundaries. When a woman consistently blames, complains, or operates from a place of negativity, it's more than just a personality trait, it's a reflection of the environment she creates around herself and by extension around you. Negativity is infectious. It can seep into your mindset, cloud your judgment, and gradually diminish the clarity and focus required to build your life and pursue your purpose. Everyone faces challenges, setbacks, and disappointments, but there's a difference between occasional frustration and a persistent pattern of externalizing every problem. Someone who consistently blames others for their circumstances is demonstrating an inability to take responsibility for their own life. And when you stay close to that energy, it can subtly erode your own accountability, perspective, and drive. Life is not about assigning fault. It's about learning, growing, and taking ownership of your actions. Being in a dynamic where someone perpetually shifts blame is like trying to row a boat upstream while the weight drags behind you. You're never moving at your full capacity, and the destination you want to reach remains out of reach. Complaining is another form of energy leakage. It's not just words, it's a vibration. An attitude, a lens through which the world is interpreted. If someone spends more time highlighting what's wrong than appreciating what's right, it becomes exhausting to witness and even more exhausting to be involved in. Human energy is finite, and the people you allow into your personal space should uplift, challenge, and inspire you, not drain you. Complaints, especially when chronic, are emotional anchors. They keep conversations and interactions rooted in dissatisfaction instead of progress. The danger is that over time, exposure to constant negativity can alter your own perception of reality. It can make you question your optimism, your strategy, and even your capacity to achieve your goals. The grind, the hustle, the journey towards success demands mental clarity, emotional resilience, and strategic focus. Being tethered to someone who constantly complains is like trying to sprint while someone else is pulling backward. It slows your momentum and chips away at your energy without you even realizing it. Negativity is not emotionally draining. It's also a red flag for compatibility and alignment. If someone consistently operates from this mindset, it shows a lack of emotional maturity and a tendency to see life through a lens of scarcity rather than abundance. People who are growth-oriented recognize problems, but they also focus on solutions, action, and self-improvement. They take accountability and use setbacks as fuel. A partner who refuses to operate this way creates friction and dissonance because their perspective doesn't match the principles you may be trying to live by. Life's victories are magnified when shared with someone who celebrates, supports, and encourages, and diminished when shared with someone who constantly focuses on what's missing or wrong. Blame, complaints, and negativity also impact decision-making. In relationships, decisions, big and small, require mutual trust, respect, and perspective. If someone habitually shifts responsibility or interprets life's events through a lens of pessimism, decision-making becomes fraught with tension, doubt, and second-guessing. You find yourself constantly managing emotions instead of managing the future, and over time, that becomes a form of mental and emotional debt. Your focus should be on growth, your grind, and your vision, not on navigating the fallout from someone else's inability to take responsibility or maintain a constructive perspective. Recognizing this dynamic early is crucial because emotional energy, once spent, cannot be reclaimed. Every moment absorbed in negativity is a moment not spent building, learning, or expanding. The impact of this pattern goes even deeper. It touches your confidence, self-esteem, and mental resilience. Humans are wired for connection, and the people closest to us shape how we see ourselves. Being around someone who constantly externalizes blame or complains about life conditions can make you feel unsupported, undervalued, or even responsible for their unhappiness. That is not your burden to carry. Relationships are partnerships, not therapy sessions or weight-bearing exercises. While empathy and support are essential, Chronic negativity without self-accountability shifts the dynamic from partnership to drain. It teaches your mind to normalize excuses, externalize responsibility, and tolerate energy that undermines your own growth. Believing when you encounter this behavior is not an act of selfishness, it's an act of wisdom. It's understanding that your energy, focus, and mindset are your most valuable resources, and they deserve protection. Walking away allows you to surround yourself with people who amplify your drive, encourage your vision, and approach life with accountability and optimism. Life is a grind, and every person you allow close is either fuel for your journey or friction that slows you down. Recognizing negativity and choosing to disengage is about choosing clarity over confusion, growth over stagnation, and alignment over compromise. It's about valuing your time, protecting your mental space, and refusing to normalize energy that diminishes your potential. In the long run, this decision not only preserves your energy, but also positions you to connect with people whose vision, attitude, and mindset align with your own, creating an environment where growth, success, and fulfillment are natural outcomes. When a woman uses manipulative language, tries to control your decisions, or emotionally pressures you, it's more than just a moment of disagreement. It's a window into the kind of energy she brings into your life. Manipulation is subtle, often disguised as care, concern, or affection, but at its core, it is a strategy to shift your autonomy for someone else's benefit. Emotional manipulation can take many forms: guilt tripping, passive-aggressive remarks, exaggerating problems, or framing her desires as your responsibility. Each time it happens, it chips away at your confidence, your ability to make independent choices, and your trust in your own judgment. Over time, this pattern normalizes itself, and you begin to accept compromise not as a strategic choice, but as a requirement for maintaining the relationship. That is dangerous because it erodes the very foundation of self-respect, which is essential for growth, clarity, and purpose. Recognizing manipulation is a lesson in discernment, seeing through the words, understanding the intent, and evaluating whether the energy aligns with your principles and your life's vision. Control is another layer of manipulation, and it manifests when someone tries to dictate how you live, whom you see, what you do, or how you feel. Relationships should be partnerships where each person retains agency over their choices while working together towards shared goals. When control enters the equation, it disrupts balance, independence, and trust. It sends the message that your voice, your opinions, and your decisions are secondary to hers. That kind of dynamic is not love. It's dominance masquerading as concern. Being around someone who consistently seeks control diminishes your freedom, undermines your confidence, and slows your personal growth. Life demands focus, clarity, and autonomy. If your mental space is constantly navigated through someone else's control, you lose the ability to operate with the precision, discipline, and energy required to build your vision. This control is not just inconvenient, it's a subtle form of sabotage. It rewires the relationship from collaboration into compliance, and compliance never produces mutual growth. Emotional pressure is closely tied to manipulation and control. This occurs when someone weaponizes feelings to influence your behavior or decisions. It might be phrased as, "If you love me, you would," or "I can't be happy unless." Statements like this shift responsibility for their emotional state onto you, creating guilt and obligation. This tactic undermines your autonomy and turns love, trust, and respect into a bargaining tool. Emotional pressure is particularly dangerous because it preys on empathy, loyalty, and the desire to maintain harmony. While compromise is a natural part of any healthy relationship, being coerced emotionally crosses a line into exploitation. It trains your mind to tolerate pressure disguised as affection and slowly erodes your self-worth, making it harder to recognize boundaries, assert needs, or disengage when necessary. Recognizing emotional manipulation requires honesty with yourself, acknowledging that your feelings, boundaries, and autonomy are valid, and refusing to let someone else dictate your behavior under the guise of love. Another layer of danger in manipulative language is the gradual normalization of excuses. People who manipulate often create narratives that justify their actions while shifting blame onto you. Over time, you may start to internalize these narratives, questioning your perception of reality, doubting your instincts, and accepting behavior that once would have felt unacceptable. This is why it is critical to identify these patterns early. Your energy, focus, and mental clarity are too valuable to expend on constant negotiation with someone who is not acting in good faith. Manipulation does not just affect the moment, it affects the trajectory of your life. It can stunt emotional growth, create chronic stress, and erode the trust necessary for any meaningful partnership. Being around someone who manipulates language and feelings turns a relationship into a battlefield where your energy is spent defending, explaining, or justifying yourself rather than creating, building, and growing. Leaving when you recognize manipulative behavior is not about being harsh or heartless. It's about valuing your autonomy, protecting your energy, and maintaining clarity of purpose. Life is a grind, and every person you allow close has the potential to either accelerate your growth or slow it down. Manipulative behavior is friction. It costs energy, attention, and focus, all of which are critical to building your vision. Walking away is a strategic choice that safeguards your confidence, preserves your mental health, and keeps you aligned with people whose intentions, values, and communication are transparent, honest, and supportive. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift and collaborate rather than manipulate and control creates an environment where clarity, growth, and shared success are possible. Recognizing manipulation, taking accountability for your boundaries, and disengaging when necessary is a powerful act of self-respect and a declaration that your energy and vision are non-negotiable. When a woman admits to dishonesty or demonstrates disloyalty, it's a moment that carries more weight than most people realize. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. It's the invisible thread that binds two people together, allowing vulnerability, growth, and intimacy to flourish. Without trust, everything else is just a facade. Words, affection, and promises may exist, but the foundation is hollow. Dishonesty, whether it's outright lying, omission, or deception, fractures that foundation. Every lie creates a crack in the relationship. No matter how small it may seem in a moment, the danger is that these cracks rarely remain isolated. Over time, they spread, weakening the structure and creating tension, doubt, and uncertainty. A single act of dishonesty is a warning. Multiple acts indicate a pattern, and a pattern is a red flag that cannot be ignored if you value your peace, your future, and your integrity. Staying in a relationship where dishonesty is present is like building a house on shifting sand. You may feel safe temporarily, but the first storm will expose the instability. Disloyalty is equally destructive. Loyalty is more than just faithfulness. It's the commitment to stand by someone, to support them through challenges, and to honor the bond that has been established. When a woman displays disloyalty, she is signaling that her allegiance is conditional, flexible, and perhaps self-serving. This is dangerous because relationships require a consistent alignment of intention. When loyalty is absent, it injects uncertainty, suspicion, and emotional turbulence into the connection. A relationship without loyalty is an environment of constant testing, where you are never fully sure if your partner has your back. This uncertainty erodes confidence, diminishes trust, and prevents you from fully investing your energy in the relationship or in your own growth. It is impossible to build anything sustainable when you are constantly guarding against betrayal or questioning the sincerity of the other person's words and actions. Dishonesty and disloyalty are not always obvious. Sometimes they are subtle. A lie by omission, a hidden action, or a concealed priority. Other times they are blatant. Regardless of the form, the effect is the same. The relationship becomes a minefield where every interaction is tainted by suspicion and doubt. When you allow this behavior to persist, you are teaching your mind to normalize dishonesty and accept betrayal as a standard. That is dangerous because it doesn't just affect the relationship at hand, it reshapes your perception of trust, love, and loyalty in all future connections. Emotional energy is finite, and when it is spent navigating lies or managing disloyalty, it is energy that cannot be used for building, creating, or growing. In life, focus is currency, and relationships that drain focus undercut your ability to pursue your purpose effectively. Another consequence of staying with someone dishonest or disloyal is the internal conflict it creates. You find yourself constantly questioning, doubting, and second-guessing. Your peace is disrupted, and your mind becomes a battleground where hope and suspicion clash. This mental strain is not trivial. It affects decision-making, emotional resilience, and clarity of vision. The weight of distrust can bleed into other areas of life, your career, friendships, and personal growth. Being around someone who cannot be trusted is like carrying a hidden anchor. It may not be visible, but it slows every step you take toward progress. The danger isn't just what they do, it's what their behavior forces you to become. You start to compromise your standards, accept behavior you normally wouldn't, and justify actions that would otherwise trigger red flags. Over time, that normalization erodes your sense of self-worth, your confidence, and your understanding of healthy relationships. It is also essential to recognize the ripple effect of dishonesty and disloyalty. A partner who is dishonest may involve you in situations that create embarrassment, confusion, or conflict. They may manipulate circumstances to avoid accountability, leaving you to clean up consequences that are not yours. Disloyalty can extend beyond emotional betrayal to undermining your relationships with family, friends, or professional connections. This is a form of sabotage because it positions you in a place of vulnerability while their actions remain unchecked. Allowing this behavior to continue is not a test of patience or love. It is an ongoing erosion of the trust, respect, and alignment necessary for a partnership to thrive. Walking away when dishonesty or disloyalty is present is not about being reactionary or vindictive. It is a strategic, self-respecting choice. It is an acknowledgement that your energy, your trust, and your peace are non-negotiable. Every person you allow close either amplifies your growth or diminishes it. A partner who cannot be trusted is a drain, a distraction, and a source of potential future pain. Walking away preserves your emotional energy, your clarity, and your ability to invest in relationships where reciprocity, respect, and loyalty are present. It allows you to surround yourself with people whose integrity aligns with your own, creating an environment where collaboration, mutual growth, and shared vision are possible. Believing is also an act of empowerment. It sends a message to yourself and to the world that you value honesty and loyalty above convenience or temporary comfort. Life is a grind, and every choice you make shapes your trajectory. By refusing to tolerate dishonesty, you protect your focus, your mental health, and your ability to pursue your goals without unnecessary friction. You also set a standard for future connections, one that requires transparency, accountability, and commitment. Trust, once broken, is extremely difficult to rebuild. Recognizing the signs early and disengaging prevents long-term emotional damage and preserves the integrity of your heart. Ultimately, dishonesty and disloyalty are incompatible with growth, purpose, and clarity. Life rewards those who operate with transparency, integrity, and alignment. Relationships that introduce betrayal or deception are not growth-oriented. They are distractions, energy sinks, and lessons in discernment. Walking away is not defeat. It is wisdom. It is the act of reclaiming your peace, protecting your time, and safeguarding your emotional and mental capital. Recognizing these patterns, taking decisive action, and refusing to compromise your standards is a declaration that your vision, values, and integrity matter more than temporary attachment. When a woman explicitly states goals, values, or priorities that clash with yours, it's more than a simple difference of opinion. It's a fundamental misalignment of life direction. Every person operates on a unique frequency, shaped by their experiences, ambitions, and principles. Relationships at their healthiest are partnerships where both individuals amplify each other's vision, reinforce mutual growth, and contribute to the achievement of shared or complementary goals. When your visions clash, that synergy disappears and friction begins to dominate the connection. Vision misalignment is not just about superficial differences. It's about whether two people can coexist while building meaningful lives without constant compromise, resentment, or sacrifice of core principles. Ignoring this early on is a mistake that many make, thinking love, attraction, or temporary companionship will override the long-term consequences of incompatible life paths. The truth is, it rarely does. Over time, mismatched visions create tension, frustration, and stagnation, eroding the potential for genuine happiness and growth. Vision is more than career goals, financial ambition, or lifestyle choices. It's the framework through which we navigate decisions, relationships, and purpose. When someone's vision is misaligned with yours, it infiltrates every layer of interaction. Daily choices, long-term plans, and even emotional investments can become battlegrounds where compromise turns into resentment. For example, if your vision includes building financial stability, long-term planning, and disciplined growth, but she prioritizes short-term indulgence or lacks the same sense of responsibility, you will experience constant friction. You'll find yourself in situations where your goals are minimized, devalued, or misunderstood. Over time, that undermines confidence, drains energy, and makes it difficult to pursue your ambitions with focus. Vision misalignment isn't always immediately apparent. Sometimes it manifests subtly through repeated disagreements, different priorities, or incompatible values. Recognizing it requires honesty, reflection, and the courage to accept that attraction and affection cannot compensate for foundational differences in life direction. The consequences of staying in a relationship with vision misalignment are profound. First, it diminishes efficiency and personal growth. Life is a grind, and every relationship demands time, energy, and mental bandwidth. If the energy spent on a partner is misdirected due to conflicting priorities, it is energy lost. You may find yourself constantly negotiating your own values, adjusting your schedule, or compromising your long-term plans to maintain harmony. This repeated compromise slowly erodes self-respect and clarity, because living out of alignment with your vision is like trying to run a race while dragging a weight behind you. Second, misalignment fosters resentment. When two visions constantly clash, it creates a cycle of frustration. Small disagreements escalate, important conversations become battlegrounds, and emotional distance grows. What might have started as a passionate or affectionate connection transforms into tension, fatigue, and emotional strain. Over time, the relationship becomes a distraction rather than a source of support, and the friction begins to impact other areas of life, including career, friendships, and personal development. Vision misalignment also impacts decision-making and future planning. Relationships are partnerships that require coordination on big life decisions: where to live, financial management, family planning, career priorities, and personal growth trajectories. If your visions do not align, these decisions become constant points of conflict, creating stress and uncertainty. Each decision, whether minor or major, carries the weight of compromise or contention. Over time, that chronic tension becomes exhausting, making it difficult to focus on individual goals or maintain momentum in personal growth. The mental and emotional energy spent trying to reconcile fundamentally different visions is energy that could have been invested in creating opportunities, pursuing ambitions, or surrounding yourself with people who elevate your path. Another critical aspect of vision misalignment is its effect on long-term compatibility. Physical attraction, emotional connection, or shared hobbies are temporary. They may carry a relationship through the early stages, but long-term satisfaction depends on alignment in purpose, values, and life trajectory. If your partner explicitly communicates goals or values that conflict with yours, ignoring them is a trap. You may convince yourself that love, charm, or emotional attachment will bridge the gap, but reality has a way of exposing these inconsistencies. The further you invest in a misaligned relationship, the more difficult it becomes to disentangle without emotional and practical consequences. Recognizing misalignment early and making the decision to leave is an act of foresight, wisdom, and self-respect. It preserves your energy, your clarity, and your ability to pursue people and opportunities that complement your vision. Vision misalignment also teaches a crucial lesson about boundaries and self-awareness. Understanding your own priorities, values, and ambitions is essential to identifying when a partner's path conflicts with yours. It requires introspection and honesty, knowing what you cannot compromise on, what principles are non-negotiable, and what goals define your sense of purpose. When a partner's stated vision clashes with yours, it is not a reflection of failure or incompatibility on a personal level. It is a reflection of misalignment in life trajectories. Choosing to leave under these circumstances is not reactive. It is proactive. It is a decision to protect your time, energy, and potential, and to maintain clarity in pursuing the life you envision for yourself. Finally, leaving when vision misalignment is apparent opens the door to partnerships that truly amplify your life. Surrounding yourself with people whose ambitions, values, and goals complement yours creates a synergistic environment where growth, progress, and fulfillment are natural outcomes. When vision aligns, relationships become partnerships, not distractions. Conversations become strategies. Support is mutual, and challenges are faced together rather than in opposition. Recognizing misalignment and acting decisively is not just about ending a relationship. It is about elevating your trajectory, preserving your energy, and setting a standard for the kind of partnership that fuels your vision rather than hinders it. At the end of the day, life is too short to settle for energy that doesn't match yours. You only get one mind, one heart, and one shot at building the life you're meant to live. The people you allow close should elevate you, push you forward, and align with the vision you're chasing, not drain you, hold you back, or distract you from your purpose. When a woman tells you these 6 things, she's not just sharing words. She's revealing her priorities, her values, and the reality of the energy she carries. That is clarity. That is truth. And truth, even when it stings, is a gift because it gives you the power to protect your peace, reclaim your focus, and continue grinding toward the life you envision. Walking away isn't weakness. Walking away is strategy. Walking away is self-respect. It's saying, I know my worth, I honor my energy, and I refuse to compromise my future for temporary comfort. Remember this, your vision is sacred, your peace is priceless, and the right people will match your energy without question. Stay true to yourself, protect your path, and never let the wrong energy slow you down.